Okay, so we're right back to Handbook of the New Paradigm. And what I'm seeing here is that this is not chapter one. This is the first channeling session. I'm suspecting by the way these things are worded. I did record number one thinking it was going to be more than a page and a half. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just continue for at least 40 minutes to an hour, and then we'll take a break. So this is beginning with number one. It is time now for the people on earth to begin preparing for planned changes in earnest. Many prophecies have been given to you, so many as to be confusing. This has made it possible for most to do nothing, because how could they prepare for so many different possibilities? It is imperative to begin with the most basic steps. Consider what are the most basic needs of man in the particular climatic region that you live. Where you are with winter coming on, it would be food, warm shelter, and water. If warmth would be critical, it should be addressed. Let us take a hypothetical example of an earth change disaster, and that's in quotations. Suppose there was an especially severe winter storm in your area. This would be a storm that involved high winds, extreme cold, and quantities of blowing and drifting snow. The electrical power would, of course, be cut off. Even if it was available, it would be unavailable to you unless there was a gas-powered. No, even if as was available, it would be unavailable to you. Oh, even if gas, not as. It's not the word as, it's gas. Sorry, they left the G off. Even if gas was available, it would be unavailable to you unless there was a gas-powered fireplace. Without electricity, you could not cook on your electric stove. There would be no electric lights. The streets would be impassable, and probably telephone lines would be out, so you could contact no one. What would be your plan? Have you even thought one possibility through to this extent? I suggest that you have at least basic emergency supplies available at home, or perhaps in your auto, as you are seldom anywhere without it being close by. A camp stove with fuel, some canned or dehydrated food, sleeping bag, and most important of all, water. Be sure all is in working order. Test them to be sure you know how to use them. See that all parts are there. Know what it is that you would do. Watch your weather forecasts and be aware that any potential storm can be strengthened and steered. Instruments are in place in use with the sophistication to do this. HARP, HAARP, is in parentheses here. Inasmuch as we cannot interfere, we cannot protect you from this possibility. Of course, this discussion has centered on only one of many possibilities. You may expect these to be happening around the planet as equipment is tested in order to understand its capabilities before coming up with a planned sequence of scenarios to help them achieve their goals. I think we've seen that off and on, haven't we? All those horrific storms that have really defied all manner of thinking. Check your food supplies. Long-keeping winter vegetables are a wise investment, and do cook them to learn how, for most of you have fallen into the prepared food trap. Available lake or river water could be frozen and is seldom pure enough to drink. Water storage is wise, and even that will not stay pure without special care. A camping purifier pump is available with extra filters. consider adding a first aid kit change of clothing. I strongly suggest that you take stock, make a plan, and actually put together a workable short-term emergency kit and have it in place. Once that is completed, then add long-term necessities on a regular basis. Once this is accomplished, you can then turn your attention to the business at hand. There was an old typing class exercise, quote, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of your country. And that is true. I typed that quite a bit myself. It would seem to me that this is most appropriate now. But in coming to the aid of the country, one must put himself or herself in a position of confidence so that in a crisis, attention can be turned outward to those in need rather than scrambling to meet one's own personal needs. In closing our first session, I would remind you that the days of greater chaos are drawing closer in an ascending quickness. Let us continue these sessions so that our clarity may increase and our messages may become truly a guiding light in the darkening of the days ahead. Sometimes it is necessary for darkness to descend before people become aware of a light that has been shining all along. Thus shall the coming together of the true family of light bearers serve to vanquish the deeds of those with dark intentions. Always remember, things work together to bring forth that which was planned long ago, for God's plans cannot be thwarted. The duration and complexity of events can be altered if there is a faltering of faith and action on the part of those that have been placed in stations of service. None are placed who do not have the ability to accomplish their missions. Some will falter and perhaps even fail. That, of course, is a possibility. I can't tell you how interesting it is to me that they say that, because I've often thought when I set up my life, I set up multiple redundancies of beings that would carry the same frequency that I could do my inner remembering with, right? So very interesting that. So some will falter and perhaps even fail. That, of course, is a possibility, but backups are in place and things will move forward in divine order. If you trust the knowledge that there is indeed an overall plan, a larger picture, and that it will succeed, then your own courage and faith will be less likely to falter. And the rest of this is in all caps. Trust the plan and pay no attention to the day-to-day details. This knowingness will be your rock on which to lean, your touchstone of faith. Now I'm going to go straight into number 2. This is the second one. Let us begin on this new day in quest of a new day. The people of your planet sink further into the morass of depression and suppression. There is nothing but doom and gloom reported all around them, and for lack of a vision of light, all appears to be fading into darkness. The focus of attention to the devils of the dark doings does not resolve the issue. In order for light to triumph over darkness, there must be a vision of the light that translates into a recognizable reality. Let us use the birth of the United States as an example. Though we cannot cover the details, we can look at the process as it is known. There were those who came together to envision something that was different than what was currently being experienced by the planetary inhabitants. No one person brought forth the vision. It was a composite of the inspirations that were but pieces of the whole. This process must be repeated again. There are those who believe that you should return to what you had before. Let us say that even that would not resolve the issues at hand. Too true. The founding fathers, that's in quotes, the founding fathers did not have instant communication, the internet, exotic surveillance methods, under and above the sea devices, as well as horrendous weapons of destruction with which to deal. You have allowed these to be created, and though you long to return to a simpler time, you will either tame these or they will destroy you. You must look past the need to merely survive the methods of trickery designed to annihilate you and dream what you would have instead of the chaos and darkness, the chaos of darkness. It is as simple as that. For as long as you choose to merely withstand and only survive the onslaughts of the oppressors, you are sinking deeper into the morass. You will only rise to the top with a new vision. We cannot give you that vision. The Book of Spiritual Laws provides some guidelines. However, the vision must be simple to be powerful. It must be visual in its simplicity so that the people now surrounded in darkness can literally be struck with its beauty and feel called to its simplicity and clarity. How do you do this? A small group cannot do it alone. A nucleus must come together, and as they begin the process, others of vision will be drawn to it. In fact, literally sent. The time for beginning this project is not at a convenient time later, but now. There is no time to be wasted if you are to accomplish this. To tarry will only make it more difficult and bring more suffering to the already oppressed. The window will close in literally weeks if it is not begun. Well, see, now keep in mind, this has been written in 2018, and I do feel like whether people knew it or not, believed it or not, was aware of this book or not, there's been some huge progress already. Or I don't think we would be where we are right now. I know you are caught up in the process of illuminating the details of the chaos, but what has that done to stop it? Now, I've gotten to that point myself. Can you actually see anything happening to change the speed of the decline? I think I can now. Then you must change your perspective. Look in the opposite direction. Are you part of the problem by observing it? Or can you become part of the solution by looking for the building blocks of what you want instead? That's what I feel like my focus has been turned to, because I don't even look at anything hardly anymore at all. Begin in your meditations to ask who would serve well in this project. This is not an esoteric process for people who are looking to give lip service and stand on the sidelines and observe. This is for visionary realists that may never actually observe the extent of the work they do now until the very end. These people will be able to look beyond the chaos and recognize the opportunity. I suppose you might say these are people with one foot in each world who can look into both without losing their balance. Once you start looking for them, you will find them coming into your experience in what may seem too unusual to be accidental. Boy, isn't that the truth, right? Uh, meet in threes, sevens, and 12s. Oh, this is the most important step to be taken now. They don't say why. So meet in threes, sevens, and 12s. This is the most important step to be taken now. Know that all help possible will be given on request. Many ideas will float through, but those of value will take root and the dream will become real. But first, it must be conceived before it can be born. You need not feel total responsibility for any phase, only for the initial promotion of the idea. The hour is desperate, and the plans of God hinge upon the people of service. The awareness of the need for change is well established in the consciousness of many. Now the vision must be planted that it may sprout and come to fruition. May your day be blessed with the love that is yours, for you are love in manifestation. It is your job and your privilege to focus it, that God may stand forth in freedom and truth in the experience of his beloved children. And I think I will read number 3 and then I will stop here. It is our hope that the process being initiated will bring together a nucleus of such compatibility as to be a cohesive cell, which shall mimic the bodily process of cell division. Within such a process, the spread would be quite amazing. Remember, a babe begins with the combining of just 2 cells and becomes a being of trillions in a matter of 9 months. By the law of attraction, a universal law, this is entirely possible. Of course, the nature of the babe is determined by the birthing combination. It is the characteristics of these that shall have a profound effect upon the end product. Do not worry, ones that should not be included won't be, but there are many that are appropriate. Just relax and allow the process to flow, which doesn't mean that this phase is yet complete. Indeed, it is just beginning. Just setting minds to considering such a possibility will not bring commitment. You are most important in the birthing. It is receptive hearts that are willing to begin the process that are important. The character, openness to act beyond the confines of the present moment, the ability to make and keep commitments, the love of fellow man beyond themselves, the desire to rise above the trees to see the forest, that are the critical components for these parents. Through this process, the awakening of man into, again, the quote, family of man is possible. The ability of man to transcend the present self-made dilemma into a new concept of existence will bring about a change, not only individually, but to all, and a ripple effect will be felt throughout the universe cosmos. I know that this seems like a big assignment to begin from just 2, but each new child is also a miracle. Its beginning is hardly auspicious, just a mass of dividing cells with no apparent organization into a miniature babe. But at a miraculous moment, the appearance in miniature is there. Inspiration shall begin the change within the focused group consciousness. The project assignment is that each new cell continues to divide. How exactly is this going to work? The first meets with two. Then each meets again with two others. Then each again meets again with two others until there are seven. 3 plus 2 equals 5 plus 2 equals 7. Then that group meets with the four additions, and the four additions split and create their own 7. Now the originals at the point can again begin a new cycle or drop out. The more times each individual repeats the process, the more the growth cycle accelerates. Can you see how the original organization can grow quickly without bringing great danger to the project or to individuals? At this point, it is only the dream that is being promulgated. Then the babe takes shape at the critical point of greater group awareness. Then the plan changes and the organs, so to speak, begin to take shape for the different functions necessary for creation of the dream. Since the focus is on the creation of a new experience, armaments are not a part of the picture unless danger is present. The focus is not resistance because forward movement into change is not factored into the detection process as presently set up by the oppressors. I shall leave you to consider what you have been told thus far. And that seems like a good spot for me to stop. So we will begin next time at the bottom of page 30 on number 4. So I hope you're enjoying this, and I know I am. And I hope you will continue to move towards that which brings you joy. Till next time.